With millions of square miles of lush, arable land and plentiful supplies of water, Nigeria has the potential to become one of Africa's leading breadbaskets. But as the saying goes, you can't eat potential. From the 1960s, as revenues poured in from Nigeria's fast-growing oil sector, agriculture, which had been the mainstay of the economy, quickly took a backseat. Groundnut pyramids disappeared from the landscape, cocoa ceased to be a leading source of revenue, and oil palm was reduced to trickles. While millions continued to toil the land, millions more poured into urban centers in search of the proverbial golden fleece. According to President Goodluck Jonathan, Nigeria can no longer continue to be a sleeping giant. We have to wake up. And if we wake up, we must begin to do things differently. Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, an internationally renowned agricultural economist, is Nigeria's Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. His presidential mandate is to do agriculture differently, strategically, and effectively.
We know those that want Nigeria to constantly be a slave, importing rice from other countries. We will not be a slave. We will feed ourselves with pride.
What we started doing that's very different is to say agriculture is actually very important, in fact more important for us in Nigeria than oil.
With agriculture in decline and a fast-growing population, Nigeria soon became a net importer of food. In 2011, President Goodluck Jonathan made Nigeria's agricultural transformation agenda a centerpiece of his reform program.
There's absolutely no reason why Nigeria is importing food as far as we are concerned. So the president decided that we have to change that. We have to unlock the potential of agriculture. We made a reform that agriculture is not a development activity. It's not a social sector. Agriculture is a business. It's a straight line business. Whether you're in seed, fertilizer, whether you are storing food or you are processing food, logistics, or transporting food and exporting it, it's all about a business.
According to Central Bank of Nigeria estimates, Nigeria spends approximately $11 billion a year on the importation of wheat, rice, sugar, and fish. That is approximately 1.7 trillion naira.
The population in Nigeria is growing very fast. And for that, we need to feed ourselves, but we can't feed ourselves by depending on food imports.
For millions of Nigerians, rice is life. Even though rice is a staple Nigerian diet that grows plentifully in all of the country's 6 geographical zones, urban demand for a polished, stone-free and odorless product has made Nigeria the world's second-largest importer of rice after China.
Nigeria does not need to import one single grain of rice. Instead, we should be exporting.
Nigerians consume 5 million tons of rice a year, of which 3 million metric tons are produced locally.
Nigeria spends 365 billion naira every year importing rice. It means we are spending 1 billion naira every day importing rice. If we continue with this particular trend, we will have to spend $55 billion importing rice by 2050, which of course we cannot afford. So that's why the president decided that we must launch a rice transformation agenda to make Nigeria self-sufficient in rice by 2015.
In recent decades, local producers of rice have seen their market share dwindle. The absence of a value chain has allowed large foreign mills to take advantage of the situation at the expense of local farmers. High on President Jonathan's agricultural transformation agenda is the reversal of a decades-old problem by developing a vibrant value chain, raising rice production levels from 3.2 million tons to 6 million tons a year, raising the quality of locally produced rice to international standards, and building a network of paddy rice producers within close proximity of local mills. In spite of numerous challenges, The government is on its way to success. To ensure that farmers can access fertilizer and quality high-yield seeds, the administration had to tackle a decades-old corrupt system.
They never go to the farmers. Never go to the farmers. Some were even exported back to where they were imported. It was as bad as that. It was the biggest scandal in this country, fertilizer.
The fertilizer business here, for way too long, for 40 years, it was all done by government. The government will buy fertilizer and seed and distribute fertilizer and seeds across the country. We were actually subsidizing corruption. We were not subsidizing farmers.
In a system that had been plagued by corruption for many years, the federal government developed what is known as GES, a Growth Enhancement Scheme. Using an electronic wallet, GES allows farmers to purchase seeds, fertilizer and other input directly from suppliers at a government-subsidized rate.
We registered 10 million farmers this year. Next year, we will register another 4.5 million farmers. That system saved the government 25 billion naira last year. Now that's 25 billion naira that I, as a minister, will have had to take my pen and sign away as contract.
While many farmers say they could use more quantities of subsidized fertilizer through the GES scheme, there is widespread recognition that the fertilizer situation is much more improved than what it had been for decades.
I have seen many improvements because the federal government gives help to us, fertilizer and herbicides and the insecticides.
Hajiya Ladi Baladi is one of millions of Nigerian farmers who have benefited from the government's Growth Enhancement Scheme since 2011.
Akwai bambanci kwarai da gaske. Bambanci kaga dai na ƙara gonaki. Na sai gona kuma na sai hege uku. Na sai wasu 'yan dabbobi. In ci da yaran ga marayu in shayar da su wani ya sheko in taimaka mai cikin jankan Allah.
Her farm was the best looking farm. In all, you have 11,000 hectares there, but her farm was the best looking farm. From that 1 hectare, she's taking care of 23 orphans. She told me, Minister, I just built a house. It's not a huge house, but it's a mud house, but it's a house. I have a shelter over my, here for myself and the family, and we are fine. She is one of those people that project to you what happens when you empower women.
With the Growth Enhancement Scheme, each farmer receives 1 free 50-kilogram bag of improved Faro 44 rice seeds and 3 bags of fertilizer at a 50% subsidy.
Don wagga shekarar mun samu taki sosai cikin sauki kuma cikin lokaci bisa ga wasu shekaru da sun gabata. Na wasu shekaru ana iya towa ya zan taki ya yi tsada kuma gwamnati ba ta rawa mutane taki ba. Amma bana alhamdulillah mun samu taki wanda an karaba mana.
Through the e-wallet, fertilizer companies have sold 15 billion naira worth of product directly to farmers. That's approximately $100 million. Seed companies have also sold 1.5 billion naira worth of high-yield products directly to farmers, cutting out corruption and middlemen who have traditionally profited at the expense of local farmers. Usman Mohammed is a retired justice of the Supreme Court. Actively engaged in his newfound profession as a farmer, he is upbeat about the positive changes taking place in the agriculture sector.
I am a living example. At the beginning in my farm, I was not getting very good yield. But when I started getting expert advice and using the electronic system and the chemicals that have been sent to us, I have found that the produce from my farm has grown from a small quantity to a very large quantity.
They have given us herbicides. They have brought in improved variety of rice that we can plant. So by getting this federal government presence, I think we are benefiting more than any other place in terms of rice production.
Following devastating floods in 2012, the federal government has made the accelerated cultivation of dry season rice a priority. A confluence of two of Nigeria's largest rivers and rich in arable land, Kogi State was badly hit by floods in 2012. With active support from the federal government, Governor Wada has been quick to turn adversity into strength by making dry season rice cultivation a major part of his agricultural transformation program.
We took that opportunity to see how we could use our floodplains to cultivate rice. And we had a lot of encouragement, practical support in terms of free seedling, free fertilizer, support for subsidized tractors from Dr. Akinwumi Adesina and his ministry. They supported us very strongly, encouraged us, and now, we are smiling.
10 states, Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, Jigawa, Kano, Bauchi, Gombe, Niger, and Kogi were selected for the execution of the dry season rice paddy production program.
This is the first time we have a massive production of dry season rice paddy in the country, and I am sure it has become part of the cropping calendar of the country.
It's a revolutionary idea. I'm not aware that it has been done before. Certainly not of the scale we are doing now. We got to a point where we couldn't clear land fast enough to allocate to people.
In less than 24 months, Kebbi State has become one of the leading producers of dry season paddy rice. Tens of thousands of hectares are under cultivation.
The amount of paddy being produced this dry season alone, which is roughly about 184,000 metric tons just from here in the dry season, just in Kebbi. It's more than enough to keep about 6 mills running for 6 months.
The multiplier effect is easy to see.
The person who is selling fura, tuwo, ose, everybody is here. Mechanics who will repair the pumps. In short, everybody, electricians, everybody is here.
People are making money. The farmers are making money. The private sector is making money. The person selling seed and fertilizer is making money. The person milling the rice and processing cassava is making money.
Dr. Adesina will be the first to admit that Nigeria's new agricultural revolution is the result of collaboration between federal and state governments, the private sector, and local farmers.
A lot of our processors say that, they can't find paddy. I'm like, where have you been? Where are you? Look at it. Everywhere you look, you find paddy. You've been coming here for 47, 45 kilometers. All you see is paddy. So I want it to be known to the rice processors that federal government will subsidize the cost of transport to move the rice from these heavy rice producing areas to where their own mills are.
Give us 5 years from today, Kebbi will feed Nigerians with rice.
We have a very large expanse of arable land. Number two, I see agriculture as a path to wealth for the state and for the people of the state.
Governor Idris Wada is not just talking about agriculture. He's putting his money where his mouth is. In Kogi State, tremendous resources and effort are daily being poured into the development and perfecting of thousands of hectares of land for the production of dry season rice and other staple crops.
We are doing mostly mechanized farming. Otherwise, there's no how we could cultivate in 3 months nearly 2,000 hectares. We plow, we harrow, we level, before we plant. And we have bulldozers. We are working here every day, 24/7.
From all indications, Kogi State's efforts are paying off. With input from the federal government, thousands of farmers have been given land to cultivate dry season rice. Some new farmers are former political and commercial thugs, and many are physically challenged.
As a member of an association of the physically challenged, we're made to understand that there's ability in disabilities. And we cannot allow this ability in us to lie wasted. So hearing through air the announcement that there's going to be a rice accelerated production in Kogi State, now I look at it and say, I am a farmer, why can't I join?
You can see now we don't have leg. We don't have leg. I see no reason why somebody that are well healthy that will not come to farm and say, let me come and do this thing. Look at all, we don't have leg. They will see enter here, enter the farm, will participate. And now it's more better than others.
What we are seeing here a few months ago was a refuse dump ground, but now we have a youth copper who has put it to good use. And you have these rice plants just behind me, and you see how good the rice is, green, showing that the soil is fertile.
There's a big transformation in this farm. I really enjoy being in this state and be part of this program. There are a lot of employment opportunities. And apart from that, I think in few years to come, I don't think there's any state that will beat this state in terms of rice production.
We are going to be launching soon a program called Youth Employment in Agriculture Program. It's a presidential initiative. The goal is to create a new generation of young commercial farmers for Nigeria. Well, if we don't take actions now, strategically, in another generation, agriculture will be extinct.
Zamfara State is a major dry season rice producer and a key beneficiary of the federal government's growth enhancement scheme.
We have built a very strong build of confidence between us and the farmers. They know that if we make a promise, we will deliver.
No problem. I'm happy to see you. Very happy.
The Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, has got it right. And anybody who said he didn't get it right, he doesn't know anything about agriculture. He only sees food in the house or in the market, he buys or he eats. But anybody involved in production, he knows the pain of a farmer to produce. And we know, because we also participate in the farming, that we are only sweating for some others who are in the shade to make profit out of our sweat without necessary commensurate return to the farmers. So the minister got it right.
With an average yield of 4 tons per hectare, it is estimated that 264,000 hectares will produce a record-breaking 1 million tons of paddy rice in 2013.
Now, to understand that, you got to understand that the total amount of paddy, additional paddy, rice paddy we need to be self-sufficient as a country by 2015, according to the policy announced by Mr. President, is 3.2 million metric tons of paddy. Now, we did 1.1 million metric tons of paddy in just one dry season. We're still going into the main season now, and the dry season of this year will go again. And the president is very excited about it. I think it was a great move on his part, and support us to do the dry season. And we're looking into the 2013 dry season to be able to do 3 times more than what we did. And we're going to work with all the same states all across the north. especially for the dry season. So it's quite revolutionary, and I think all the farmers are expecting more from us.
Cultivating rice in sufficiently large enough quantities to meet local demand is just one part of a long-term value chain strategy.
This is the first time in our country where the whole agricultural chain has been thought through properly.
We have to make sure that we have the mills in place that can mill international grade quality rice.
Abdullahi Idris Zuru is the project manager of Labana Mills in Burning Kebbi.
We are expecting to employ a minimum of 3,500 people. It will be possible with Labana Rice Mills and others to take Nigeria into the league of rice exporting countries. Here in Labana, we have 2 plants in one place. It's essentially meant for production of parboiled rice. Each of the plants has the capacity of processing 8 tons of paddy per hour. Put together, we are expecting, or we will, at the end, when we start production, process 18 tons per hour in this mill. And we hope to produce up to 22 to 23 hours per day.
Ultimately, the Nigerian government's plan is simple. Using agriculture to accelerate economic growth, the plan is to grow food, create jobs, and create wealth.
Agriculture has the power of creating jobs more than any single sector that we have in the country, especially jobs that impact on the people in the rural areas. And the sense of hope, that it unleashes on the community is quite significant. And for me as a minister, I look at that and I said, guess what? If you want to really address issues of insecurity, when you create jobs and you create hope, it deals with a lot of that. And that's why we are actually going to do more of this. You will see the president invest more in this particular area, especially in the north. It's all about an economic Marshall Plan for the north, and we'll make it work.
For the Nigerian farmers, no farmers, no nation. No farmers, no nation. Great farmers, great nation.
Under the current Minister of Agriculture and his team, President Jonathan is implementing an aggressive, time-bound plan to unlock Nigeria's potential in order to become an agricultural powerhouse.
Access to land is the most basic thing you need if you're going to do agriculture, and land is actually becoming scarcer around the world. 60% of the global amount of land to feed the world is available in Africa, and Nigeria is well ahead of the pack on that. We have 84 million hectares of arable land, of which no more than 40% is actually cultivated. So we've got a massive amount of land here. You look at water, River Niger, River Benue, we've got all this water. We got 273 billion cubic meters of water. And so water is not our problem. It's managing the water that we have to do better at. And third is labor. You look at, we have a lot of youth that are out there, very cheap labor that we can use to intensify agriculture. And look at our population, 167 million people, except we've been using that population, keeping farmers of other countries happy and employed. And the economy is actually doing well because we've been import dependent. And so what we're doing now under the president is we are saying it's about us. It's about our country. It's about our rural areas. It's about our farmers. It's about our youth. It's about our own security. Buy Nigeria. Eat Nigeria. As far as I'm concerned, if it's not produced in Nigeria, it's not good enough for Nigerians.
Well, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, is a realist. He's a practical man. He's a sincere man. He is, to me, Mr. Agriculture. He lives it, he practices it, he encourages it, and he puts his money where his mouth is. Once he says he's going to do something, he will dedicate his staff and work hard and implement it.
He's very focused to change this state and other states. He only needs people to queue into his program. He already knows where he's going. He knows what he wants to do. He's just looking for people that can go with him. I don't think that man can be derailed.
This is the first minister I know that if you send him an email, within a couple of minutes, he's replying to you. You send him a text wherever he is in the world, he's replying to your issue. He's giving directives to his office to intervene immediately. In those days, you can't even contact a minister, sir. You can't. You go and wait in the office for hours. But now, you email him, immediately you get a reply. And he has a solid backing and support of Mr. President. All of this, we must thank Mr. President because it's his program. We are just copying it, and whatever they have promised, they are giving. So we just thank God as a nation that we have this phase of our development where we are focusing on agriculture.
Nigeria's current agricultural revolution is already attracting major investors and partners.
That's why, as a government, we attracted Dominion Rice. Dominion Rice was the largest producer of rice in Kenya. It's an American investor. Today, they are investing $40 million in commercial rice production in Taraba State of Nigeria, which is a local partner here. That farm is going to be the largest producer of rice in Africa in the next 18 months, straight out of Nigeria. Now that's what I'm talking about, producing it here, unlocking the power of Nigeria as a global powerhouse in food. So lots of things that still needs to be done. My dream for agriculture is quite large. I don't think small.
Dr. Adeshina says Nigeria's ongoing agricultural revolution is the result of teamwork and a president who supports the transformation agenda in word and deed.
This is one president that is very calm, is very compassionate, very courageous, and it gives you quite a lot of leeway to do the best thing in the public interest. And I very much appreciate that. He's a remarkable leader, and I believe Nigerians should give me a lot of credit for the transformation you see in the agricultural sector today, because without his support, we won't be having the successes we are having.
If the synergy and collaboration between the Nigerian government, the private sector, and small-scale farmers continues, there is no reason why agriculture cannot overtake crude oil exports and become Nigeria's new black gold.